We know where it goes in, we know where it comes out, and we know in between something useful happens. Tonight, I will show you the journey of a mouthful of food along a 7 meter of ingenious tubing. I will actually unravel this woman's gut, literally. And at the time I have finished, her tongue will be here, her stomach here, her liver, her pancreas, her small intestine, large intestine, and finally over here, her anus.
Lesson 3. Digestion.
It's sometimes said, you are what you eat. But in the case of the humble donut, this is true in quite a surprising way, because the donut is actually an elementary model of the way that we're made. It has a mouth, an anus, some stuff around the outside, and a tube through the middle. In our own case, the stuff around the outside has been elaborated into a head, a body, arms and legs. And the tube through the middle has got a lot longer and a lot more convoluted. But our central tube is vital because it's through this tube that we take in food from the outside world and convert it into our bodies. There's a lot of this tubing, and it's quite amazing that it all fits into the abdomen in this way.
Our alimentary tract is stuffed in one of our body cavities. To show you that, I have cut a whole body frontally in 2 parts. And we look at the cut surfaces. We see here the upper cavity for the brain. And the large body cavity here, the lung, in front the heart. But below the lung, on this side, there the alimentary tract starts with the diaphragm, with the liver, the stomach, the large and the small intestine.
There's absolutely no space wasted anywhere, and yet there's still room in here for our intestines to writhe around as they propel our food along. But this very economy of packaging means that it's actually quite difficult to understand what connects to what. So we're going to begin our journey at the very beginning, at the mouth. And we show it at this body to be dissected. The body is fixed. This means we stop putrefaction by a chemical called formalin. It also has the advantage that the organs become stiff. They're not so flabby anymore. Of course, we had to suspend the body by those threads. For anonymization, we put this mask on. And we have the mouth open because we want to follow a piece of food along its journey. The reason for having the body in the upright position is because we wanted to show you the gastrointestinal tract in the sort of position that you normally see it when we eat a meal. In other words, in an upright position. Digestion starts in the mouth by the saliva, and this is produced by the salivary gland. So what I do now, I open the flap of the skin to expose the salivary glands. So in this demonstration we're going to use the analogy, a perfectly reasonable analogy, of the gastrointestinal tract as a food processing plant. And the processing starts with the mouth. The mouth is our food hopper. This is the place where we take food in, where we crush it up and break it into smaller pieces, ready for transfer down to the business end of the gastrointestinal tract, which is in the abdomen. The mouth is actually a more sophisticated structure than it's often given credit for. We have muscular lips by which we can manipulate our food. We have teeth of various different sizes and shapes to cut it up. We have cutting incisors at the front. We have grinding molar teeth at the back. We have
salivary glands, and I think this might be a good opportunity to use, we've got a little mini camera here to give you a closer up view of what's happening. So you can get a slightly closer view of the salivary glands. The saliva has two main functions. Its main function is to lubricate the food ready for its journey down the esophagus to the intestine. But it also produces an enzyme. This is a special protein which digests, in the case of the saliva, starch. So if you like, this is nature's own toothpaste, because once you've eaten a mouthful of food and swallowed it, the saliva then starts to clean your teeth. The other thing we have in the mouth is this strange prehensile organ, the tongue. And the tongue is very sensitive and very well muscularly controlled. And it exists there to mix up the food and the saliva and get a bolus of food ready to be transferred to the back of the mouth. And the back of the mouth, there's a group of muscles called the pharynx, which we use to swallow. And that's where we're going to see next.
To see the pharynx, we must open it from behind. Therefore, it's necessary that I take the back of the head and also the back itself off in one piece. This takes a little bit of time. We have pre-dissected the head, so we are a little bit faster. So we'll see the brain actually is attached now to the backbone, and I have now to go here at the back end or to loosen the skin. Marius, my assistant, thank you very much, you helped me. So I have to go deeply here.
The reason why we're approaching this dissection from behind is because the esophagus, which is the next part of the gastrointestinal tract, which takes the food down to the abdomen, is actually located right at the back of the chest and right at the back of the throat. So the view that we'll have in a moment when this block has been removed is actually a very difficult view to obtain. This is a view that few anatomists actually attempt to do, and it's a view that few even medically trained people have ever seen, because it's only rarely that this type of dissection is performed. But it will give you the best view that's actually possible of the location of the esophagus in the body. Just lifting back.
So what I take off here is the vertebral column, here starting off the rib, and here the brain with the skull, the back of the skull. So we don't need this because we want to look to the front. We want to see the pharynx. So I put this over here gently. When we now take the skull aside, a little bit the hair to the side, then what we see here from the back is the back of the mouth, called the pharynx. This is actually a muscle layer which I want to cut open. And this goes down here, the connection down to the stomach, running between the two lungs, here the right lung and here the left lung.
The pharynx is actually the last time when you swallow some food that the food is under your conscious control, because these muscles at the back of the throat are the muscles you use to swallow. So when you decide to swallow something, when you make that movement and push the food towards the back of your mouth and swallow, these are the muscles that contract. And you know, when you swallow, your Adam's apple moves up and down. That's because that's actually connected to these muscles. So this is the last time your conscious brain is in control of food, and for the rest of its journey, it's under the control of the intelligence of your intestines.